presents the Bay Area Brawler, Skylar Greenberg, and your Colonial Champion, Sean McCarty. Welcome to the Court Martial Podcast.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Court Martial Podcast, the podcast made by wrestling fans, for wrestling fans, all the smarks in the building. Thank you for being here, but we are not amongst you. We are just here in front of you, having some fun here today. We are going to play some games, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be no saws. There's going to be no Triple H's. Well, there might be. We don't know yet, because we're guessing the card. And we're going to break down the game and all of the fun stuff there. Skylar might be joining us a little bit later. I am your Colonial Champion, Sean McCarty, who is ready to bring some more Court Martial Podcast regularity into the mix. You know, we took quite a lot of time off last year, and part of the reason is that we just needed to. There's no other way to put it. But the man with me, at least to start, is the Jesse to my Festus. He is the Slam Master J to my Festus. He is the Carl Anderson to my Festus. JoshAgeddon, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, you caught me so off guard with the Jesse and Festus shit.
Yeah, that's a callback.
That transported me right back to SmackDown versus Raw 2010, wondering, who the fuck are these people?
You know what's wild is that was their second game. They were in SmackDown versus...
That's the game that got me into wrestling.
They were in SVR 2009 as well.
Biscuits and gravy.
Oh, man.
Are all that I am.
Then they turned him into a rapper. Oh, man, that was brutal. So, folks, what we're doing today is we're playing Guess the Card. Now, all of these great wrestlers in history, namely LA Knight's gotten a lot of attention for this lately, JoshAgeddon. Anytime that anyone has done something successful, somebody has to go, that's a great idea, I'm going to take that somewhat and make it our own. And boom, here we are.
Well, speaking of taking ideas and concepts and pretending that they are their own, I'm going to be stealing something from Skylar, and he can't do shit because he's not here. We're going to do a News of the Week segment, Sean. Are you prepared?
It.
Coming straight to you from the
Heath Springs, South Carolina.
This is the Wrestle News with
JoshAgeddon.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a little while, and honestly, I don't know if this is going to be like the first episode of CMP Quickies, an in and out kind of thing, which Sean McCarty, the pussy destroyer himself, would know a great deal about being in and out really quick.
You know,
or if this goes long enough, this might just be another full-blown episode of CMP.
I was just about to say, you know, given my long-windedness and the potential for Skylar to arrive here, I get the feeling that there's going to be nothing quick about this. It's going to be a slow stroke all the way through.
Yeah. Are you feeling anything yet?
Oh,
No.
I'm feeling it, Mr. Krabs.
Well, so yeah, I have some news. I'm going to be stealing Skylar's spot because he's too busy in jail right now working. He didn't do anything. He didn't murder anyone that we know of.
Or at least that he's told us. Yeah. I don't know. What happens on the West Coast stays on the West Coast, I guess.
Yeah. So I do have like one or two smaller stories, but we have three huge things to discuss momentarily. So starting off really minor, we're recording this on a Tuesday, by the way. So
on a Tuesday. Continue.
About a week ago, actually it was about 24 hours ago, on the day one episode. Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't even bring it up. God, look how conceited are we. We're like, hey, we're back. Not even mentioning, oh yeah, it's 2024. I hope you are all having a wonderful 2024.
Yeah, do you love me more here on 2024? You're a whore.
Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Continue.
So, last night was the day one episode of Monday Night Raw. And Sean, by the way, when's the last time you watched a full episode of Raw or SmackDown?
Oh God. Oh man, it's longer than this podcast has been around. Let's put it
Well,
that way.
As you are aware, and Skylar's aware, I usually watch, like, ever since the regime changed, which is something we'll be getting to in a second.
Yes.
I've been watching full episodes of Raw and SmackDown more recently. And funny enough, Raw, even though it's still 3 godforsaken hours, is most weeks Raw is better than SmackDown.
Is that right?
Well, Raw has all their champions there, present, and accounted for, so that helps.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Speaking of which, one of their champions, Gunther, is now a dad.
Happy birthday, young
And I'm
Gunther
angry
baby.
that I am not the mom. Why was I not the mom? There's no good excuse.
I don't think you can be the mom, Patrick.
Not with that attitude.
You're right. If I were a mom, this would be kind of shocking.
Overtime! Dear God.
Yes, sir.
So we had a bit of a scare on Raw last night. It was a tag team match between Jey Uso and Kofi Kingston, the most random tag team ever,
Okay.
versus Imperium, and the match was cut short because not Fabian Eichner, that was his old name, Giovanni Vinci.
Oi.
Giovanni Eichner came off the top rope, and Kofi, the spot was he was going to counter him with a dropkick. We've seen this done hundreds and hundreds of times.
Right.
Kofi got him a little too good,
Oh.
and his bell was rungeth. And it was so bad that the referee took one look at him, knew it was wrong, threw up the X, and the match was stopped. The match was stopped cold.
Well, that has to happen sometimes. Now, you mentioned this a little bit in, yesterday as it happened, and the idea that you were able to say that it really wasn't that serious.
Yeah, and it was revealed, Giovanni was on social media later on, and he was like, "Thank you guys for all the concern. I'm okay. I just got briefly knocked out."
Yeah. So, well, and that's good. I mean, he's in the blue tent for concussion protocol. And you know what? I don't think anyone is going to fault WWE for doing something like that at this point. I think with the way that we all know what concussions are and what they do to people, look at Bryan Danielson and how that has affected his leadership in AEW.
Yeah.
Or Matt Hardy, or actually, there's a list of people in AEW with concussion issues. But
Listen, you're going to love this. You call Zack Sabre Jr. Square Jaw McGraw. We need to start calling Bryan Danielson One Eye Bry.
Yeah.
Square
Brain McCain. that's what I'm calling Bryan Danielson now.
Bruised Brain McCain.
Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, so I hope you get better, Fabian Eichner, Giovanni Vinci, whatever your name is.
Well, and not for nothing too, JoshAgeddon, this is another interesting thought. But when it comes to the impression, or at least the kayfabe of making wrestling look like a legitimate sport, it makes it look a lot more legitimate when matches are stopped when somebody's bell gets rung.
Yeah, it does.
It did not, it helps.
One thing that's really stood out to me was when Skylar was like, if this was AEW, they would have continued the match for another 15 minutes.
Tell him when he's telling lies, though.
Yeah. So kudos to WWE for being smart and stopping the match.
Yep.
Although one thing that was unintentionally hilarious, Jay looks kind of disappointed when they raised his hand because Jay did not get tagged into that match one time. He did nothing.
Dude, free payday. Save your body, man. Free payday.
Yeah, what a paycheck.
Literally.
He was like, oh, man.
Stand there. It's like, oh, I didn't get in. Who cares? Your body got a day off, an unexpected day off. Take the dub and get the hell out of there.
All right, and speaking of our friends over there in AEW that we love so much.
Oh, yeah.
They had a pay-per-view Saturday. Yeah, they had a pay-per-view Saturday called World's End.
How'd that go?
I watched it. I know you didn't. It was okay. It was a B show. I actually skipped 2 matches. Because they had 2, not 1, but 2 8-man tags, and I was like, 1 is enough. And I didn't even enjoy that one. Was fine, but the second one I skipped. I also skipped Julia Hart versus Abaddon. because I'm good.
Oh.
But the last 3 matches were good. I wouldn't say they were great, but they were good. Adam Copeland and Christian had a good match for the TNT title, and the finish. They tried to do a flaming table spot and they botched it because it's AEW and nothing can ever go right.
Sounds about right.
And Adam Copeland nearly crippled Nick Wayne he tried to powerbomb him into the flaming table but missed the table.
Oh no.
And Nick Wayne landed neck first on the floor.
Oh no.
So, and also like they botched the fire part of the flaming table, because you know when you put the lighter fluid and you light it like the fire is only there for a couple seconds before it just disappears.
Yeah.
Well, apparently they were not clued in on that because they were setting up to do the spot, but the fire ran out. So then Edge had to relight the table.
Edge has done this spot before.
Yup.
With Mick Foley.
Yup.
For God's sakes, guys.
They had to it took forever. They had to and like Nick Wayne was just laying on the apron pretending to be dead so he could get power bombed over the table, not through it. The whole finishing sequence was just shot all to hell. And the match was good up until that.
I hate how pathetic this company is sometimes.
I know, and I saw a comment on the video where because I watched the highlight package of it before I watched the actual show, and the comment was like, what is it about AEW and everyone who knows what they're doing goes to that company and it's like they get a disease where they forget how to wrestle?
It brings out the worst in people. It's not even getting people under as opposed to getting people over. It's giving people the opportunity not to make themselves, but to bury themselves.
They're unlearning.
Fuck Mark Calloway, Tony Khan's the Undertaker.
Yeah.
He's the one killing careers.
They're unlearning how to wrestle.
Yeah.
And wait till you hear the finish. So he pins Christian with the kill switch, and on the pre-show, the buy-in, kill switch or Luchasaurus, who now goes by Kill Switch. He won the TNT.
Come on.
Yeah, they changed his name.
No. Does he still wear the dinosaur mask?
Of course he does.
Then what the hell's the point? Take the mask off then. If he's still Lizard Man, he's not Lizard Man by giving him a different name.
Nothing AEW does will ever make sense.
Oh,
but I will say it's funny because one funny thing, you know how Christian's even though he's in a shitty company, he's still one of the best things in the company? Guess what the name of his heel faction is? Guess what the name of his heel faction is?
Tyson Tomko.
The Patriarchy.
Okay, that's pretty good.
It is pretty funny.
He's been quality. Christian has been a shining star, not selling real estate, but he really has. He's been consistent, though. In AEW, he's been consistently, even with matches that have no business being decent, Christian's matches, you go, okay. Like that weird-ass casket match he had with Jungle Boy.
Yeah.
That match had no business being as good as it really was. It was...
Yeah, where he closed the casket and the whole thing collapsed.
On purpose. That was the idea.
But yeah, so get this. So on the buy-in, Killswitch / Luchasaurus wins the TNT Money in the Bank Battle Royal match.
Oh, God.
So after Adam Copeland wins the TNT title in this no DQ match, he comes out and gives his finishing move, a clothesline to the back of the head, to Adam Copeland, and is about to cash in his not Money in the Bank until Christian comes over and says, no, I want that because I'm your father. Luke, I am your father, Killswitch, Luchasaurus. Lucasaurus.
Oh, God.
I would not.
You know what? I would rather him dress up as a whale than I would this Luke. Yes.
So he gives the contract to Christian, and Christian signs it, and Christian cashes in the Money in the Bank contract, and he immediately spears and pins Adam Copeland to win back the title. So Adam Copeland was champion for 5 minutes.
Man, what a joker.
Man, I feel like I've seen the exact same things in WWE all the time.
Done way better on the same day.
Don't you love AEW's quote-unquote sports-based presentation?
Yeah. Even I have fantasy people that are more realistic than his actual people. That's
Sean,
really
you
pathetic.
you did the exact same finish on CIW the other day, and it was a million times better.
I mean, it's not even a comparison, though. It's like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like, when you look at the way that it's done and how it's executed, and like, there's a lot more long form put into my booking than any of Tony's. Even if Adam Copeland and Christian are some of the better people on this roster at this point, but that wasn't even the big reveal on the night.
Yeah. Well, after that, we had Eddie Kingston versus Jon Moxley for the Triple Crown Million Belt Continental Classic of Amazingness match.
Those were the two finalists?
It was good. It was all right. The match was all right. Eddie Kingston won clean, so that was good, I guess.
You know what? I don't mean to just say something. I just thought of this, though. I have to give credit where credit's due. I don't like mentioning Jim Cornette and Brian just because they're doing so much more numbers than we are. But Brian Last called that they were going to do a quote-unquote surprise and have Eddie Kingston come from behind and win this tournament. He said that 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
He nailed that. Exactly so good job, Brian. You are definitely, ear on the wall. You totally get Tony Khan's erratic horse shit.
Yeah. Well, he's been doing it for like almost 4 years now. And the main event was MJF versus Samoa Joe for the world title. And they had a good match. And the finish was MJF is like, they bumped the ref because, of course, this totally isn't WWE. We're still talking about AEW. This isn't WWE, even though they do the same exact stuff that WWE does all the time, except shittier.
Yeah.
So he's like, give me the diamond ring. Although there was a part where MJF gave Samoa Joe an F5, and that was hilarious.
That is kind of hilarious.
And, of course, no one on commentary called it the F5. But so he's like, give me the diamond ring. And Adam Cole is like shuffling around, and it takes him a couple seconds, and he finally is about to hand it to him. But Samoa Joe puts MJF in the coquina clutch. The coquina clutch. And they do the arm raise 1, 2, 3, and they ring the bell, and Samoa Joe is the new AEW champion, which I'm not going to lie. As much shit as we give AEW, at least Samoa Joe is a champion somewhere.
That had to happen, though.
Yeah.
MJF's run had gone so stale.
Yeah.
It was time. It was time.
And then they reveal the devil, which, of course, the devil and his men are Adam Cole, Wardlow, Roderick Strong, and the Kingdom, which it makes sense, and it was the right decision, but the way they did the reveal was so dumb.
Now, I saw this. I saw this part.
Okay.
Now, here's my take on this. I don't even hate the way they did it, but they did not need to shut the lights off and turn them back on. I know that was part of the gimmick of the devil, which I also think was stupid, because why would you have that? Because you know what it was? It was to conceal the fact that they have legitimate tech issues. So they're just like, it's the devil.
And apparently on Bleacher Report during the first match, the screen went black for about a minute for no reason.
Oh, it was the devil who did that. Totally not our ineptitude. Yeah.
Not this company being absolute.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? In fairness to them, if you're gonna suck, at least make it a gimmick.
Yeah.
To their credit, they're like, okay, listen, we're really not good at production. We might as well turn this into an angle somewhat. And not a good angle, but an angle.
I groaned so hard when they used the light turn off gimmick to reveal that Adam Cole was the devil. It was so lame.
Yeah, that's all it was. And he didn't need it.
This is what I would have done. He has the chair raised, about to brain Adam Cole. Just swing the chair and stop right in front of Adam Cole's face, and then set the chair up, and then Adam Cole changes expression, sits down in the chair, then you have the reveal. And then he pulls out the devil mask from his jacket. You get the realization. That would have been so much better.
That's all you needed.
Yeah.
But of
course,
you tried too hard.
I think is Tony Khan Nosferatu in that one SpongeBob episode?
Well, I think he's just trying to. I think he's honestly trying either too hard or not enough, or maybe a little weird combination of both. It's like you had it. You had it at the goal line, and you had it, and you could have run it in yourself, and you chose to throw a screen pass. You're not going to get anything of what I'm saying. You're throwing a ball that you didn't have to throw. You're already going to score. But
do you remember when we made the analogy of the basketball game where the enormous Chinese dude that I can't remember his name is like holds you up to the net and you still brick?
Yeah. Tony Khan is the Washington Generals to WWE's Harlem Globetrotters. There's literally.
I'm not gonna get that, but I feel like I understand.
So all of the Harlem Globetrotters games aren't really games, because the Generals just are there as placeholders while the Globetrotters do ridiculous, basketball stunts and shots and things like that. And you can't bet on Harlem Globetrotters games because they're not games. So the Washington Generals are just kind of there while the other team is obviously the one to watch and has cohesion and sense. But in any case, it's not that I don't like Adam Cole as the Devil, but man, what do I say all the time? Presentation is key.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just not well executed.
It was lame. It was good idea, lame execution.
Yeah. I don't even hate the idea. It's just it could have been a worse. I'm glad it wasn't Tony himself.
Yeah, that would have just been okay. Just flush this fucking company down the toilet.
It could have been a much worse reveal than Adam Cole. At least you can get some mileage off MJF versus Adam Cole, seeing how long you fucking teased it.
Yeah.
And how hurt both guys have been in separate situations where they've both been healthy, but...
Yeah.
But
now we move on to the first of our 3 big stories. Now, Sean, I'm going to give you a choice. Do you want the good news, the controversial news, or the potential bad news?
Let's start bad and work our way to good so we can get into guessing.
I mentioned that I watched Raw last night, and you are probably immediately going to know where I'm going with this. There was a segment where they were like, a former WWE champion is going to appear.
Oh, yeah.
It started off really funny because the crowd was like, who's it going to be? And people had their cell phones out. Jinder Mahal's music hits, and the entire crowd collectively goes,
the air got sucked out of the room so bad. I thought that was a 5-head move. And you know what? I was happy to see Jinder Mahal. I was like, hey, man, it has been a while. And
dude, the entire crowd.
He did a good job in this.
The entire crowd just groaning. It was
great. It was great.
My only problem with what he was doing, like, I don't care about him doing the whole anti-America shtick. It's just that it went a little long. And then, of course, The Rock comes out and everyone ejaculates. The most ejaculating man in sports entertainment. So he comes out, and then they go back and forth, and he's like, oh, you're a douchebag, you're an asshole, and then it starts going a little long. This whole thing was like, this would have been better if it was like half as long. Gives him a spine buster in the people's elbow, and then we get to the moment where this became a thumbs down segment, in my opinion. He said, man, I'm hungry. Should I go to a restaurant? Should I go eat at a bar? Or should I go to the head of the table? Wink, nudge, and he leaves the ring. And the crowd's like, oh, you've mentioned Roman Reigns. And I'm worried.
Look, I don't want to take too much time on this because there's a lot of different ways I can explain it. And I know that Skylar would love to be here to discuss it.
Yeah.
Here's my problem. I don't mind The Rock being involved. I do mind The Rock being involved now. Right now, WWE has so many top names that are in line to do some really special things. Like, if they keep on track with Cody, because they've protected him all year when we thought he wouldn't. they could still do that line of Cody and Roman, the second time around. You know that they want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to wait another year for it. I really don't.
No, I swear to God, if we get Cody and Roman at Mania 41, I'm going to lose my mind.
I swear to God. But in any case, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But you've got people like LA Knight and Seth and Punk and it's just right now, WWE is right on the precipice of making real stars again.
Yep.
There are no more recognizable names in WWE than we've seen in a long time. And I really do think that with the more people watching and there's more investment, is it the most dynamic show ever? No. But it's still doing its thing. And Triple H has found a formula that is getting people over. My concern is that a lot of that is going to be blown on wanting to do Rock and Roman because it's bloodline deal and they're still trying to milk this bloodline thing for as long as they humanly can. And I don't think Rock would ever win the title from Roman Reigns, but it's like, it just feels like a waste right now.
Yeah, it would be an absolute waste of a WrestleMania.
I don't think it's a waste of a whole WrestleMania because there's still going to be all of those top guys on the rest of the card to fill it in and make it a good show.
It'll be a waste of whatever night it goes on.
But in my
opinion.
The thing is, it'll go long. It'll be a lot of acting and talking. It'll be a lot of The Rock selling in the middle of the ring as Roman Reigns does his jabber wrestling.
And it'll be a lot of The Rock trying desperately to make sure his internal organs don't come out.
Well, and that's the other thing. Hey Siri, how old is The Rock?
Dwayne Johnson is 51 years
old. He's 51 years old, for God's sakes! Thank you, Siri. You see my point here.
I hate the world we live in.
It's too easy. See, we don't need Skylar anymore. We've got Siri.
No, we don't need Skylar anymore because we have Siri. We have depressed Joshua. Like, dude, I will become the new depressed Squidward meme of the group if this happens.
Oh man,
you'll have 2 depressed Squidwards on your hand. How are you going to deal with that, Sean?
Hey, I'm doing all right with the 2 that I've got. So,
but listen, can I also just say, I am so fucking sick and tired of every single year now this pops up. How many years now have they been threatening us with the looming dark cloud of we're going to do Rock and Roman at WrestleMania? How many years have they been threatening us with this horse shit?
Dude, they do that with The Rock all the time. Remember the time they did a backstage segment in like 2018 where they teased Rock versus Triple H for no reason?
Yep.
And they're like,
at that point, I would have been fine with it.
Well, and the thing is, I don't mind The Rock being involved. I don't even mind him having a match at Mania, but not now. The timing of this, timing is everything, and the timing of this really makes me worry.
Yep.
And
if I swear, if they steal Cody's spot and give it to The Rock, I'm going to be so fucking angry.
Well, and remember when I said in I forget which podcast it was. It might have been no, it had to have been right after All Out. Right? After the whole All In incident when there was a lot of thought about Punk coming back to WWE. Maybe it was a little later than that because we were just imagining Punk going back to WWE. And I said, imagine the year that Punk comes back to go to get a WrestleMania main event. The Rock's the one who's main eventing again. Folks, that is a
can you
possibility.
stop being Nostradamus for 5 seconds?
Listen, I did not choose this life. I did not choose this. This life chose me.
Dude, I hate your fucking prescient vision, okay?
Well, because I could see the direction. I understand what they're trying to do. It's just, listen, all we know, he's only teased something, right? We're going way too far down the road here to speculate that there's actually something going to happen here. That could have just been a one-off. It could have been a one-off. I don't get that feeling, but I'm willing to let this play. I'm going to trust Triple H on this one. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. He really has not fucked up too badly in any one area.
Well, he brought Nia Jax back.
Okay, except the women, but everywhere else. Everywhere
well,
else.
to be fair, Sean, women's wrestling is like the kryptonite of wrestling booking.
I know. It's hard to do. I can testify it's hard to do. I needed 4 of the same person to make CIW's work. Just saying, I needed 4 of one human being.
You put Natalie Portman in a spaceship and sent her ass straight to Camino.
Literally, I cloned her ass in all of it, 4 different movies. But in any case, folks, the link is in the description for that. But let's get on to the rest of the news so we can continue with the meat of the matter here.
Right. So do you want controversy or do you want good news? You said you wanted to work up to good, so
now I'm assuming that this controversy is the one that we've heard from our good friend the Lion Tamer, the man who I'm still waiting for his response to fight, by the way. It's been 3 years, Chris, where you at?
You mentioned Wales earlier.
I did.
So
I did.
It's a good lead-in.
Sure is.
One thing that was interesting about World's End, I didn't watch this because this is the match I skipped. Chris Jericho was in one of the 74 8-man tag matches on the show, and he got booed out of the building. Like every time he did anything, and the crowd at points were chanting NDA, and the crowd started chanting "Let's go Kylie."
Now, this is purely speculation. This is all alleged. We don't have any concrete evidence of anything. We got to say that first. This is all allegedly, but continue.
The reason why they're chanting these strange things, because without context, it just seems very random. Apparently, there was an incident where a female wrestler was working in AEW around the beginning of AEW, and she was invited into. Yeah, allegedly, she was allegedly invited into Chris Jericho's locker room, where under the pretense that Jericho and other people were going to be in there.
Allegedly,
it was allegedly just Chris, allegedly Jericho.
That's a great gimmick.
And he allegedly made an alleged pass at allegedly her.
I kind of freaked her out, allegedly.
Yeah, and she allegedly didn't like it, so she allegedly left the room in a huff.
And that was kind of the last we saw of said female wrestler, allegedly.
Oh, I was about to say allegedly. So, this past alleged Christmas, Chris Jericho allegedly had a full-blown meltdown on Twitter.
Oh, no, that's not alleged. That happened. That happened. He got into a fight with Stephen P. New. He got into he literally he was like going, put him up, I'm drunk.
Yeah, you could
because he definitely was.
Yeah,
he definitely was drunk.
That led to I can't remember. I think it was Nick Houseman that said something about mentioning the allegations against him, which of course Jericho blocked him after he said that because Jericho's a coward.
Yep,
allegedly. And that led to a whole big old can of worms opening.
Yeah, so now people are like asking for an investigation, and I mean, of course, with AEW, who are not willing to look at evidence at all about anything, they have already immediately just assumed that Chris Jericho is a pedophile of some description, and they have completely just vilified this dude. I actually kind of empathize for him a little bit here, because like, it's there's nothing proven yet. I'm still willing to give due process its due course. You know, if Ben Shapiro has taught me anything, it's let's pump the brakes on this speculation here a little bit and see if we can figure anything out. Which, knowing Tony Khan, we never will.
Yeah.
But, you know, if the network gets prying, if they even keep AEW, but if the network keeps prying, you know, that could lead to some situations. You know, I think Chris probably feels he's safe because Tony made him keep his mouth shut.
Yeah.
But this is also the same Chris Jericho who said he got abducted by aliens on a dirt road one night. So, like, who knows which end is up here? Like, that's the thing. I'm not going to vilify Chris Jericho for that, because I don't know for a fact whether any of that is true. I will vilify Chris Jericho for being terrible in AEW.
Yeah, and being part of why that company is absolute dog water.
And being terrible for his backstage politicking influence in AEW.
Yeah.
But that's
So
that. So
now-
Chris, I'm not gonna hit you for that one, but you're not
Yeah.
off the hook. Fight me, bitch.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. No, that one's for real. That's a real challenge, but
Yeah.
allegedly. Hey
And
Siri,
now to our.
how old
our
is Chris
fin-
Jericho?
Oh God.
Chris Jericho is
He's 53 years old, for Christ's sakes. Thank you, Siri. Continue.
So
Where do we go from here? Good news.
good news. We have the best thing that happened. It made me so fucking happy. Kevin Dunn is Kevin Dunn. The big blight with the enormous teeth that are like lightsabers at this point gave his notice, and as of yesterday, Kevin Dunn has left the WWE.
Now, I gave this some thought when we first had this discussion, and here's what I'm going to say about this. Now we're going to find out if it really was Kevin Dunn's fault or not that the production was so bad. Because if Kevin Dunn leaves and this production gets sizably worse, then we may have been just getting the best of a bad situation. Now, I don't know whether that's going to be the case or not, because whoever took over his place, I'm sure, learned from Kevin Dunn. But my
Yeah.
hope is whoever is going to take his position might actually, I don't know, like wrestling.
Yeah, that's my big thing. With Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn pretty much out of the picture, we need to get we don't like wrestling. We like sports entertainment. That attitude needs to die.
Yeah.
We need to cleanse WWE of that attitude.
Well, and it's going to be gradual. And we've said that from the start. You know, I said a
Yeah.
while that Triple H isn't going to do anything really format shaking. And right
Yeah.
now he doesn't have to.
Yeah,
But
and like I said, I watched Raw last night. It was the first Kevin Dunn free Raw. It didn't really there wasn't anything noticeably different.
Yeah.
But I expected that because it's not going to be like, oh my God, what is this thing I'm watching? Why am I orgasming all of a sudden? Because it's so good and pleasing to my eyes.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like that. It's gradual.
Yeah, I think probably in 5 years' time we're going to see the difference. Right now, it's just the prospect of somebody getting put in. But, you know, I will say this. Producing television is not easy to do. Take it from somebody who went to school for it. It is not easy to do, and it is really easy to make mistakes. So I'm sure that there's going to be some level of that in whoever
Sean.
is going to take over. So I just
Sean,
want us
me
to be
and you-
fair.
Me and you have been producing YouTube shows for 10 years, and YouTube shows are difficult enough.
Yeah. Now imagine having 50 cameras to play with and timing
Yeah.
them all right and knowing the spots and coordinating where the spots are so you get those shots. And if somebody does something that's an angle, making sure you catch them as well as getting with the action going on in the ring, cutting those in
Yeah.
enough time where everybody's in line with the action on the same page, not really
and
knowing how the
pressing all the
matches are going to
buttons.
go.
Being able to get to the buttons without banging your hands on your own teeth.
Yeah, I mean, it genuinely does take it's challenging. It's gonna be a challenge, but I trust the process with WWE so much more now. That's the thing, and that's the biggest change culturally that Triple H, his leadership has instilled. Is that and it's something that I am really, really appreciative of, is that I can now trust that WWE might just land it. They might just get it. Where there was no shot of that with Vince or Kevin Dunn.
It's still crazy the difference in quality between the beginning of last year. Well, not the beginning of last year, the beginning of 2022, like the first half of 2022, and the second half of 2022 to now.
Yeah. And I will
The
say
difference is
this.
crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it's mind-numbing. And here's the other thing too, Josh, again, just to kind of round out the news here. This is going to be Triple H's first Vince McMahon free WrestleMania. So
Yep.
maybe, just maybe, Triple H has the greater plan in mind than to
Yeah.
do the short-sighted, pull the hot shot trigger on The Rock versus Roman Reigns necessarily under the pretenses that we have set them at this moment.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
If we get Rock and Roman at Elimination Chamber
Fine.
in Australia,
Fine.
fine. Do it. I don't care.
Yeah. At that point, I don't care.
Or at SummerSlam with no title on the line, just for the head of the table position. That would be fine.
That'd be great. And then have Solo betray The Rock and then betray Roman, and then Solo can become the head of the table.
Just don't fuck over Cody.
Yeah, that's all I want. It's because I was afraid. We were all afraid of that at WrestleMania last year. That was Cody's one and only shot.
Yeah.
I don't want to be right about that. I really don't
want to be right.
I really don't. I'm already right about The Rock returning to take Punk's spot. Like,
yeah.
Don't make me right about Cody. But it's time
Stop
we get
being
a guest.
Nostradamus.
That's right. And a Merry Seanmas to you. And actually,
I knew you were going to do that.
That's actually on March the 5th. We'll get there. But folks, it's time to get going. 40 minutes in. There's no way this is going to be a mini podcast. This news is a mini podcast. Now,
yeah.
Let's get to the meat of the matter. We're playing Guess the Card.
My quickies are long.
That's right. We're playing Guess the Card. Long schlong Guess the Card. And the way that we're going to do this is that I'm going to give the card, and well, first and you can ask for match results. That'll be one thing and your goal is, given the card that I give you, to name the pay-per-view it's from and the year that pay-per-view took place.
Okay.
You can ask any questions that you want, but I reserve the right to reject one of those questions or refuse to answer if it's going to give it away too easily.
I have one request.
Yes, sir.
If you refuse to answer a question, you have to reject it in the same way Tony Khan would refuse to answer a question.
By saying, I'm not going to answer that. I'm sorry. We're great.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah, well, I'm not going to answer it just like Tony Khan because we've already talked for 40 minutes. We need to get this going.
Go watch Dynamite and Rampage.
Yeah. On Big Swole Can't Wrestle. Have we covered all the bases? I think so.
Yeah.
Now that our Tony tweets are behind us, let's get the ball rolling here. And actually the dice rolling, because I have...
Did you say Tony Tweets or Tony Tweaks?
Well... You be the judge, ladies and gentlemen. So, we're going to start off hot, and I think you're going to get this one pretty easily. I think. Okay. But I could be wrong. Let's start, and I won't mention the pre-show matches or dark matches, because they won't really, I don't think they'll tell it, because we have made it pretty established canon that we don't pay attention to those.
What is a pre-show?
Exactly. So, here we go. From bottom to top, for the World Tag Team Championships, Carlito and Chris Masters versus Big Show and Kane. In a Money in the Bank ladder match, Bobby Lashley versus Finlay versus Matt Hardy versus Shelton Benjamin versus Rob Van Dam versus Ric Flair.
Is it WrestleMania 22, 2006?
Can you let me finish the damn card? Let me finish the damn card.
Redacted.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said, redacted. Because we're trying to give the fans a chance to guess here. It's not just all about you getting it 2 matches in, bro. I knew you'd get it pretty easily.
As soon as you said Carlito and Chris Masters, I was like, well.
Well, let's keep going here. The rest of the card. In a singles match for the WWE United States Championship, JBL versus Chris Benoit.
Who's that?
Exactly. In a hardcore match that we just talked about, Edge versus Mick Foley.
Back when Edge could wrestle.
I forgot about this match. In an intergender handicap match, Booker T and Queen Sharmell versus the Boogeyman.
I remember that.
I forgot about that match.
Jesus.
In a singles match for the Women's Championship, Trish Stratus versus Mickie James.
She grabbed her hoo-ha in that match.
In a casket match, Undertaker versus Mark Henry. In a no-holds-barred match, Shawn Michaels versus Vince McMahon with Shane McMahon. God, that match went 18 minutes. In a triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship, this would have been the giveaway if you didn't guess it 30 seconds in. Kurt Angle versus Randy Orton versus Rey Mysterio. In a Playboy pillow fight match. What a break spot. Tori Wilson versus Candice Michelle. And for the WWE Championship main event, John Cena beat Triple H by submission.
Would it be WrestleMania 22, 2000?
Wow! How did you figure it out? Oh, man!
The salt.
And
salt.
here I was
hysterical.
thinking, oh, what a challenging wow! Man, can you believe the intelligence on this man, ladies and gentlemen? What a great!
I know.
I know. So let's go to a different one then. I'm gonna do another one here. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's give you one that maybe won't be guessed 2 seconds in.
Also, I just want to clarify that I do have a bunch of cards in front of me because I'm going to be giving Sean cards to see if he can guess. I'm not like Googling the like he says these names. I'm Googling them to see if they're. I'm not cheating.
No, I said that one was a softball before you guessed it. But let's make the rule of let's go through the entire card first and then guess.
Yeah.
Even if you know.
This is the Sean Gets Salty rule.
Oh man, if you only knew. All right. Oh man. Okay. Here we go. This is gonna be pretty good. Let's see if you remember this one.
Okay.
This one I actually am gonna mention the dark match in this.
Okay.
In a tag match, Jesse and Festus defeated Deuce and Domino.
Full circle.
That's right. I had to just because they were on here. In a stretcher match, Finlay versus Rey Mysterio. For the ECW Championship, CM Punk versus The Miz. In a one-on-one match, Mr. Kennedy versus Jeff Hardy. For the United States Championship, MVP versus Kane. For the WWE Championship, Shawn Michaels versus Randy Orton. In a street fight, Umaga versus Triple H. And for the World Heavyweight Championship, The Undertaker versus Batista with Stone Cold Steve Austin as the special guest referee.
Cyber Sunday 2007.
It is Cyber Sunday 2007. Now I'm going to stump you here without looking it up. Where was this show?
Washington?
It is at the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C. Very good.
Dude, that was a guess.
Very good. Yeah,
A guess.
there we go. Okay, that actually did test your knowledge. And
I'm not even joking. I considered using that one on you for this one.
oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't have got it, to tell you the truth, because I forgot about Ray and Finlay in the stretcher match, and how The Miz got 39% of the votes to fight CM Punk. I don't understand. And then they did, and then I distinctly remember that Michaels and Orton match because it led to the really good match they had at, what was it? The
Survivor Series.
Survivor Series, yeah.
Yeah,
Where Shawn had, he couldn't use the super kick. Yeah, it was.
And the finish of the Cyber Sunday match was Shawn was going for Sweet Chin Music, but Randy Orton
got himself intentionally disqualified, yeah.
That was a sick low blow. If you're gonna do a low blow, do it like that.
Yeah.
Just straight up weenus to the penis.
That match and that program with Shawn, I think really catapulted Orton to another level.
Yes, it did.
Because Shawn just knows how to make even the most mundane feuds feel personal.
By the way, Sean, there's like as much as I'm a huge fan of Randy Orton, right?
I do.
And people are like, man, the Age of Orton reign from 2007, 2008 was so good. You know how I also feel about championship matches on pay-per-view that end in DQ, right?
I do.
Cyber Sunday, He won. Well, he retained the title via DQ. Armageddon 2007, him versus Chris Jericho for the title, ended via DQ. No Escape 2008 versus John Cena. He slapped the fucking referee and got DQ. He had 3 pay-per-view DQs in his title reign.
He's like, I have uncontrollable asshole disease. Where I just randomly RKO people. It's an affliction. I have a medical card.
I have intermittent explosive diarrhea.
That was the dumbest cop-out. I'm like, that made no sense. And then later he's like, I knew what I was doing the entire time. I'm like, obviously, bro. It's like your disease wasn't a real disease. Like...
Well, I actually kind of liked it because they were trying to use that because he's attacked the boss and they were going to fire him, but he won the Royal Rumble. So it was like, if you fire him because he had this disease and he won the Royal Rumble, then he's going to sue you and cancel WrestleMania. So it was an extra layer to give an excuse as to why they didn't just fire him.
Yeah.
So with that, I was cool with it.
Well, 2009 was a good year for Randy.
It was arguably his best.
So it's all good. All right, let me give you one more, and then you can try to tease me here. All right.
I get to tease Sean.
Let's see. I'm going to try and give you a harder one here.
Okay.
All right, here we go. I'll do this one. I'm not going to give you a really difficult one, but here we go. All right. This is... All right, here we go. In the first match, Bret Hart versus Hakushi. In a handicap match, Razor Ramon versus Jeff Jarrett and the Roadie. In a King of the Ring qualifying match, Mabel versus Adam Bomb. For the WWF Tag Team Championships, Owen Hart and Yokozuna with Mr. Fuji and Jim Cornette versus the Smoking Guns, Billy and Bart Gunn. In a one-on-one match, Jerry Lawler versus Bret Hart, again. And the main event for the WWF Championship, Diesel versus Sid with Ted DiBiase. And there are also three dark matches that I guess were taped afterwards, which were Undertaker defeated Kama, Bam Bam Bigelow defeated Tatanka, and Owen Hart and the British Bulldog, which ended in a draw.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Was this an In Your House?
It was an In Your House.
Shit. And I get 3 guesses, right?
You get 3 guesses.
Wasn't King of the Ring. I know this was 96. Or no, it was 95. It was 95.
Well, it could have been either. I mean, how long did they do In Your Houses? Up until like 97, I'm pretty sure.
What really gets me with the 95/96 was Diesel was champion. But he wasn't champion in 96.
Correct.
In Your House. I don't know a lot of the names of the In Your House shows, not gonna lie.
Well, you can give me a month, or a number, because they were all numbered. They didn't, you don't necessarily need to give me like D-Generation X or Mind Games unless you know it. But you can give the month and the year, and I'll kind of fill in the blank spots if you're correct.
Well, I got 95.
It is in 95. I will give you that. You did get the year correct. It's at the Onondaga County War Memorial in Syracuse, New York. If that helps.
That helps.
Yeah. Although that isn't. Before I let you guess here, it is an interesting thing to point out because at that point, the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, which is where Syracuse football plays, they can seat a good amount of tickets in there. If they really wanted a big gate in Syracuse. But business was so down in WWE at that time, this Onondaga County War Memorial, it only seated 7,000. Which is, well, it may have seated 10, but got only 332,000 pay-per-view buys at the time.
Okay.
So, I mean, again, that doesn't really make, a huge set here, but
I'm going to guess June.
the event took place May 14th, 1995. It was the original In Your House.
Can I get a close enough?
Definitely get it close enough.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you get it like a horseshoe's 1 point. You're touching the pole.
Oh, yeah, that's right up my alley. I
Your
love
legs
touching your
aren't
pole,
around
Sean.
the pole, but you're touching the pole.
Yeah, I'm touching Sean's pole.
Yeah, I bet. Well, why don't you give me one of these and we'll see how bad I am at remembering things.
All right, this pay-per-view began with Drew McIntyre defending the Intercontinental title against Kofi
shit.
Kingston.
I don't know anything about 2010.
After that, that's why I picked it.
Keep
Because I know you very well, and I know exactly when you stopped watching wrestling.
Yep, keep going. All right, let's see if I can figure this out. Keep going.
It also had R-Truth versus Ted DiBiase,
Okay.
Rey Mysterio versus CM Punk. Do I have to give you the stipulation?
You don't necessarily have to.
Okay. Rey Mysterio
Oh.
versus CM Punk.
Okay.
David Hart Smith and Tyson Kidd defending the unified WWE Tag Team titles against Chris Jericho and The Miz.
Okay.
Edge versus Randy Orton.
Okay.
Jack Swagger defending the World Heavyweight Championship against The Big Show.
Okay.
And Eve Torres defending the Divas Championship against Maryse.
Okay.
And John Cena defending the WWE title against Batista. You gave me the year. What is the name of the show?
Now, the thing is, this was right around the time they started dicking around with different names of shows.
Mhm.
Like the Batista and Cena feud, that only lasted a couple of months before
It lasted from Elimination Chamber to...
it can't still have been Backlash at that point.
it was not Backlash.
Was it Extreme Rules? It's like that May show, but they had a different name for it.
It was the show after Extreme Rules.
So that would have been in June. They didn't have Money in the Bank yet.
It was on May 23rd.
It was May. Okay. So May 2010. Judgment Day was gone by then. So it was after Extreme Rules, right? Because they did away with Backlash for a little while.
Yeah.
And the thing that clued me into this was not even just John Cena versus Batista, but it's you actually threw me for a second when I said 2010, because like if you could have made the case that there were some things with late 2009, like with the Hart Dynasty taking over and Punk versus Rey Mysterio, because they had started doing that with the Straight Edge Society then. And
Yep.
and that match had, they had gone a while for that.
Yeah.
God, what was the name of that pay-per-view? It wasn't, because it was 2010. God, okay, let me ask a question. Was the name of this pay-per-view repeated? Like in a future year?
Yes.
Or was this a one-off? Okay.
They did 3 of these.
They did okay, so it's not Vengeance, I don't think.
No.
Because they did like 6 of those.
Yes.
They had already done away with the Bash Tour, which fell really flat, like every year.
Yeah.
Oh.
So much so that they brought it back in NXT.
Yeah, well, they brought a lot of WCW ideas back from NXT.
I I'm pissed that they made No Mercy an NXT show.
Yeah, God, I'm gonna kick myself because I know the show. It's I can visualize it. Was it done the year before, or was this
No.
the first year they did it?
This was the first one.
Yeah, see, that's what's gonna mess me up because I don't remember any of those 2010, 11, and 12.
Also, on this show, 5 people were legitimately injured.
See, I don't remember that so much. Actually,
Yeah. Randy Orton. This is the one where Randy Orton dislocated his shoulder by pounding the mat.
I don't even remember that happening. Yeah, I'm gonna have to concede this one because I do not remember the name of the pay-per-view.
Over the Limit.
Over the Limit. Yeah, you know why? Because none of them were.
I liked the 2012 one. And the 2011 one had that really good Randy Orton Christian match.
Yeah. Oh, that one I remember. Orton and Christian always had good matches, but yeah.
And it also had Michael Cole versus Jerry in the Kiss My Foot match.
That's why I didn't remember it.
And it also had The Miz murdering John Cena for like 15 minutes with
Yeah.
Alex Riley.
Yeah, so all right, so it is 3-2, so I am whiffed here on number 1. Good catch, sir.
All right, so do you want to go next, or do you want me to give you another one?
Why don't you give me another one? Let's see if I can redeem myself here.
Okay. So this show right here, you might get it, you might not. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It started with MVP defending the United States Championship against Matt Hardy.
Okay, so the entire year of 2007.
Remember when he barfed on him?
No, that's how long they feuded.
It also had Kane defending the ECW Championship against Chavo Guerrero.
Okay.
Battle of the Big Boys, Big Show versus Khali.
Okay.
This one might give it away. Shawn Michaels versus Batista with Chris Jericho as the guest referee.
Was that
Yeah, you can't
Backlash?
guess until I give you the entire
That's
card.
right. I know, you're right. I'm sorry. Continue.
It also had this match that you totally watched and remembered. Beth Phoenix, Jillian Hall, Layla, Melina, Natalia, and Victoria versus Ashley, Cherry, Kelly, Maria, Michelle McCool, and Mickey James in a 12 Diva tag match.
I'm just going to write down women. Okay. Got it. Keep going.
The Undertaker defending the world title against Edge. And this one is really probably going to give it away. Randy Orton defending the WWE title against Triple H, John Cena, and JBL in a fatal 4-way elimination match.
I remember that elimination match. And that wasn't Backlash, I don't think. Because they didn't hotshot that Jericho feud that fast, because that really started in the summer, right? That was like July.
I don't know. You tell me.
Because I know that they did, because Orton was champion. So this couldn't have been coming out of WrestleMania 2007. Because I don't think... Oh, that was WrestleMania 23, right? That year?
Yeah, WrestleMania 23 was in 2007.
Right. And so Batista had the world's title. Or he had the world's title, lost it to Taker that year.
Mm-hmm.
And then... Okay, well, Shawn and Batista at that point, this can't be 2007. This has got to be 2008. Because this was the whole reason that, I don't know why I even said 2007. Oh, because of MVP and Matt. Because that's when that started, and they went for 9 months or whatever long it was. But
well, a lot of that was Matt Hardy was on the shelf, injured.
Right. But it has to be, I'm pretty sure this is if it's not Backlash 2008, which is what I kind of suspect it is. Because they had Shawn and Batista. When did they have that stretcher match?
That was at One Night Stand Extreme Rules.
Right. Okay. So, which was like that month afterwards.
Yes.
And the whole thing with Jericho being there is Jericho was supposed to be this impartial referee, and then Jericho got mad. So I think this is Backlash.
It is Backlash 2008.
Let's go. Let's go. Backlash 2008.
There we go.
Okay. I'm back in it.
Back in it.
All right. Cool.
I threw you momentarily with the MVP versus Matt Hardy.
With Matt Hardy, because they did really go for that United States Championship fight, and then they were tag champs, and then they fought again, and then it was like, it wouldn't end.
Yeah. They did have a good opening match at Backlash, though.
I've seen the show.
That show was a good show.
It was.
I think as you know, the 2009 Backlash is one of my favorite WWE pay-per-views.
Yep.
It wasn't as good as that one, but it was still pretty good.
Well, the thing with Shawn and Batista, the reason that brought me in with the whole Jericho thing is I remember the finish where Shawn kind of faked the injury off I think he was trying to counter off a power bomb or a Batista bomb, and then he faked an injury, and then Batista hesitated for a second, and Shawn capitalized, and Jericho got off put by that.
Yeah, and that started their epic feud in 2008.
Yeah, I remember the angle. And that's actually what saved the guess, is remembering the angle.
I knew that would tip you off.
Yeah. And so that...
And that was the show that Triple H beat Randy Orton for the title. Because John Cena made JBL tap out to the STF. And right as JBL tapped, Randy Orton punt kicked John Cena to eliminate him. And then him and Triple H wrestled for like 5, 6, 7, 8 more minutes. And then Triple H hit a pedigree and won.
All right. So... And I remember that. I'd actually like to rewatch that pay-per-view. So I'm going to give you, this next one I'm going to give you, you're going to know the pay-per-view.
Okay.
The difficult thing is going to be picking which year it happened.
Okay.
The Bushwhackers defeated the Fabulous Rougeaus, Jacques and Raymond, with Jimmy Hart. Brutus Beefcake versus The Genius. Ronnie Garvin defeated Greg Valentine with Jimmy Hart in a 17-minute submission match.
Jesus.
Jim Duggan versus Big Boss Man with Slick. And finally, a 30-man over-the-top rope battle royal won by Hulk Hogan.
Okay, so I figure it was the Royal Rumble.
I don't know how you figured that out.
But what year? Hulk Hogan won the... Didn't he win multiple Royal Rumbles?
He has won multiple Royal Rumbles, yes.
I know. Okay, so Flair... Didn't Flair win the 92 Rumble?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so it had to have been... Was it the 91 Rumble?
It was not the 1991 Rumble.
Shit.
Although I will give you this, Hulk Hogan did win the 1991 Rumble.
Okay. Was it the 1990 Rumble?
It was the 1990 Royal Rumble.
Okay, yay, I did it. Yay, I'm proud
Because
of
Hulk
myself.
Hogan is only one of 2 people who won consecutive Royal Rumbles. That being himself and Stone Cold Steve Austin, who won 97 and 98.
And then he won 2001.
Yes, but non-consecutively. He's the Grover Cleveland of Royal Rumbles.
Yes.
But in any case, so I knew the Royal Rumble, that was going to be an easy one. I did not remember this Ronnie Garvin, and I almost want to look this up. Ron Garvin and Greg Valentine wrestling for 17 minutes on this match, on this show. That was either a hell of a match or a snooze fest and a half.
It was the early 90s, so I'm going to say it was probably kind of boring.
Well, what's wild is this is a 2.5 hour show, but let me read you the match times. The tag match with the Bushwhackers and the Rougeaus was 13 minutes and 35 seconds. The double disqualification between Brutus Beefcake and the Genius was 11 minutes and 7 seconds long.
Of course it was.
The aforementioned 17-minute submission match with Ronnie and Greg, and the Jim Duggan Big Boss Man match, which ended in disqualification, was 6 minutes and 13 seconds. And the Rumble itself was 58 minutes and 46 seconds.
Okay.
So even with 5 matches on the card in the Royal Rumble, they still managed to squeeze that into a little bit under 2 hours. That's not bad.
Okay.
That is not bad.
I'm
Now,
actually kind of surprised I got that one.
well, I mean, you only really had 2 options, but the fact that you got 91 first helped.
Yeah.
I think, knowing that you got one of the 2.
And I knew that Ric Flair won the 92 Rumble, so I knew it wasn't going. And I knew that Hogan didn't win anything like after that.
Right. See, and that's the thing. I know that I can get you with wrestling history.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, well, let me hit you with another one here, and I think you're going to get this one immediately.
Okay.
And I'll give you some of the taped matches. They're not dark matches, they're taped matches.
Mm-hmm. Not glue matches, tape matches.
That's right. Keith Lee defeated Kona Reeves. Mia Yim versus Bianca Belair. And then, in the main card, Matt Riddle versus Roderick Strong. In a fatal 4-way tag team ladder match for the tag team championships, the Street Profits versus the Undisputed Era versus Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus the Forgotten Sons.
Boy, were they forgotten.
It's
Maybe if they were fighters instead of sons, they'd be more memorable.
perhaps for the North American Championship, Velveteen Dream versus Tyler Breeze. What a time. In a singles match for the Women's Championship, Shayna Baszler versus Io Shirai. And for the NXT Championship, because I obviously gave that away long before this, Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano.
So it was an NXT show. NXT TakeOver. All right, was it a one-on-one match or a 2 out of 3 falls match?
Which match are you referring to?
The Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano.
It is a one-on-one match.
NXT TakeOver 25.
It is NXT TakeOver 25.
Okay.
I mean, you only had really 2 options with that
and
main event.
It was 2019, right, or 2018?
So that match, that show was 2019.
Okay.
And bonus points if you can tell me where it was.
I don't think it was Philadelphia, but I'm going to go with Philadelphia.
was-
No, they had an NXT TakeOver Philadelphia.
Correct. The
Hartford,
silence.
Connecticut. I'm just kidding.
You're close. It was Bridgeport.
Bridgeport. Wow.
It was Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Can I get another like horseshoes touching the pole?
You could get a half a point for getting Connecticut.
Okay, cool.
I'll give you a
Cool.
quarter of a point because you guessed Philadelphia first.
Okay.
But there we go. All right, lay me on another one, sir.
All right. This one's immediately going to be like, oh dear God. Our first match was Zema Ion
Okay.
defending the X Division Championship against RVD.
Okay.
Then we had Samoa Joe defending the Television Championship against Magnus.
Okay.
Then we had James Storm versus Bobby Roode.
Okay.
then we had Joey Ryan versus Al Snow.
Yeah, we sure did.
That match just amuses me greatly.
I'm sad I remember it.
We have Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez versus AJ Styles and Kurt Angle versus Bad Influence, Christopher Daniels and Kazarian for the World Tag Team titles in a three-way tag match.
Okay.
We had Miss Tessmacher versus Tara for the Knockout Championship.
Yep.
We had Aces and Eights versus Bully Ray and Sting in a no DQ match.
Okay.
And our main event was your favorite person ever, Austin Aries, defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Jeff Hardy.
We are in 2012, I believe. Late 2012. Because this is after Immortal is done. They've started the Aces and Eights angle, but it hasn't spilled into 2013 yet. When did he revealed himself? Bully revealed himself at Lockdown, I believe it was, because it was Lethal Lockdown, and Jeff Hardy was back to back with Bully, and I'm the leader of the Aces and Eights. I'm fucking Brooke Hogan. Blah blah blah.
Yep.
You know. Now the lack of more bodies in this, because 2012 wasn't all Aces and Eights.
Yeah.
It's because Zema Ion and Van Dam, that's kind of more towards the end of that, but it's before the assemblage of the main event Mafia, because Joe and Magnus were both in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it had to be before then. If Storm and Rude were wrestling, I'm gonna say this is actually early. I'm gonna say this is Genesis.
It is not Genesis.
Okay.
It is 2012, but
It's
it is
2012. Then let's see what's before then. Is March Victory Road? Because they kind of did away with what's it called? Destination X. They didn't do that year, if I recall. Did they?
I think they did. Let me see real quick.
I don't. Well, it's clearly
They
not
might
the
have.
answer, but I didn't think they did.
Yeah, it is not Destination X, because I don't even know.
Yeah, I
even know
don't
if
think
was
that year. I don't think they did it. I don't think it's Slammiversary, because Lockdown was before Slammiversary. And that would be their 10-year. I don't know if they would have done that. Aries would have already cashed in option C. There's no elimination match, so it's not sacrifice. There's no feast or fired case. So this is the feud with Storm and Bobby Roode. It started at the tail end of 2011 and culminated at Lockdown. Right? That was the last match in that feud, wasn't it? At Lockdown?
I refuse to answer this question.
Okay.
Also, the show is great. We are the safest wrestling company.
Well, there's no electrified cage match in this, so you know.
Or sparklers.
Yeah, that's right. God, I'm trying to think of what was in that window. Like, what other shows do they have? Because I'm thinking of all these other Ring of Honor names. It's TNA. It's 2012. I'm gonna say it's got to be March of 2012. And
It is not in March.
February then?
Nope.
Then I'm just gonna say I don't know.
It is Bound for Glory 2012.
Was it real? Was that really that long?
Yep, it was October of 2012. Bound for Glory.
So I was actually correct at first. I talked myself out of the correct answer.
This was the end of the James Storm Bobby Roode feud because they had a street fight with King Mo as the special guest enforcer.
I blocked that out of my memory. I forgot about King Mo. The amount of times they tried to shoehorn Bellator people in, and it worked none of the time.
And this was, I believe, when they revealed that that Devon was part of Aces and Eights.
Right, because they were still starting to develop that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I rewound and kind of hot-shotted myself back into the wrong direction. I had it. I had it at first. If I had just stayed on course.
Fun fact, the entire show is on YouTube for free.
TNA did that with a few of them.
And I actually every once in a while go back and watch it because that's actually a pretty good show.
Quite a few of the Bound for Glories are better than they
Although this is the one where during the match Hulk Hogan comes out and he's barely mobile, and one guy runs up to him, he punches him once, falls over. Another guy runs up to him, one punch, done. Another guy runs up to this old man, punch, and it's just repeating.
Yeah,
so that worked for me, brother.
It's sometimes it does.
Sometimes
this was a good show. All right, give me another one.
All right.
This is my idea, and I'm shitting the bed on it. Let's go.
Let's see. Okay, I'm all right. Let's see if you get this one. Okay. This one, I'll give you the dark match.
Okay.
It was Shelton Benjamin defending the United States Championship against R-Truth.
Okay.
The first match was Rey Mysterio versus Kane in a no-holds-barred match.
Okay.
The second match was Matt Hardy versus Evan Bourne for the ECW Championship.
Okay.
Then we have John Morrison and The Miz versus Crime Time in what would have been a TV match. It feels so much like a Raw or SmackDown match, but it was on this pay-per-view for some reason.
Yep.
Oh my God, I almost forgot about this one. Santino Marella defending the Intercontinental Championship against the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh my God. Okay.
We had The Big Show versus The Undertaker.
Okay. That helps 0.
Maybe this will help a little bit more. In a last man standing match.
Okay.
We also had Triple H defending the WWE Championship against Jeff Hardy.
Okay.
And our main event was Chris Jericho defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Batista.
So this is 2008.
Well, how could you tell?
This is 2008, and I want to say this is No Mercy or Survivor Series. I don't remember which, because this is the one where Triple H and Jeff had a hell of a match. There was a sign of respect, and then later on, Edge came in and kind of shoehorned himself, which led to the triple threat that Jeff won at the Rumble. That started Matt's feud.
None of what you just said is correct.
I disagree.
You have the triple threat was at Armageddon. The Matt thing started at the Rumble, but it was a one-on-one no DQ match between Jeff and Edge.
No, but there was still a triple threat match. Was it just Jeff and Edge at the Rumble?
Yeah, just one-on-one at the 2009
Okay,
Rumble.
but I mean, the point stands. I mean,
yeah.
It's got to be No Mercy or Survivor Series. I imagine it can't be Survivor Series because there's no one surviving. So I'm going to say No Mercy. It's got to be No Mercy 2008.
It is not No Mercy.
Or whatever that October fucking pay-per-view's name was. It's
You gotta give me a guess.
It's what was there in place of No Mercy? It wasn't Unforgiven.
They did have a No Mercy pay-per-view in 2008. It was just the last one.
It was. This can't have been Cyber Sunday of that year. I can't imagine they would. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because that might explain why the Honky Tonk Man was wrestling.
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. They did Cyber Sunday around that time. Is it Cyber Sunday?
It is Cyber Sunday 2008.
Okay. So it was in October, just like what, 2 weeks before No Mercy?
It was actually after No
2
Mercy.
weeks after No Mercy, yeah. It was one of those in-betweeners.
Yeah, and this
that-
one Triple H just beat Jeff Hardy clean.
Well, that's kind of what happened in the No Mercy match, too. It was just closer.
Yeah, this one wasn't close. Like Jeff Hardy got crotched on the top rope, and he tried to do they tried to do like how they do the Randy Orton DDT from the second rope, except
Yep.
sometimes he does it from the top rope. They tried to do a pedigree from the top rope, but they slipped and they had to save it to just a regular pedigree, and that was it.
Oy.
Yeah, so it was Cyber Sunday 2008, but
Alright.
I'm going to I don't know this myself, but where did this event take place?
Oh, God, I have no fucking idea. I can't imagine they would have done it in Chicago. They wouldn't have done... Well, maybe, but... I'm going to say that this was done... I mean, again, it's difficult knowing WWE's routing.
Yeah.
But if this was in October, then I'm going to say maybe... I don't know, maybe Tampa or Florida somewhere.
This took place in the U.S. Airways Center in Phoenix, Arizona.
All right, I got the South. So I'm going to take a hemispheric point.
I got the hemisphere.
That's right.
correct.
That's right. So I'm
All
taking
right.
it. All right, I'm going to give you a softball. I just want you to feel the pain of this one.
Okay. Oh, no. Why must you do this to me? I already felt enough pain with The Rock earlier.
In the pre-show match, an 8-man tag team match, Alpha Academy, Big E, and Daniel Bryan versus King Corbin, Sami Zayn, Cesaro,
Fuck
and
you.
Shinsuke
Fuck
Nakamura
you. I know what show this is. Fuck you.
in a triple threat match for the WWE Championship.
God.
Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles and The Miz. In a singles match for the SmackDown
I like how
Women's...
you omitted the stipulation.
In a SmackDown Women's... I have to. In the SmackDown Women's Championship, Sasha Banks defeated Carmella with Reginald. See, the wheeze was what I was aiming for. In a tag match for the Raw Tag Team Championship, The Hurt Business, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin with MVP
The Hurt Business.
versus The New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods.
The Hurt Business is better than what we have now, which is just the Squirt Business.
In a Women's Tag Team Championship match,
God.
Asuka and Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler.
God, 2020 sucked.
In a Universal Championship match, Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman versus Kevin Owens. And in the main event, Randy Orton versus The Fiend in a Firefly Inferno match.
I fucking hate you. It was TL. It was TL
Suffer.
goddamn C 2020. Fuck you.
Yes, it
I
sure
knew what it was off of the pre-show
Off
match.
the pre-show match. Yeah, that was impressive.
Because I remember that was the setup for Big E winning the Intercontinental title on Christmas.
That's right. And look how well that went.
Yeah.
All right, I got another one here for you.
I don't know. Is it gonna? Are you doing this just to injure me?
This is more pain.
Oh God.
But let's see if you remember which pain. And I'm gonna bring
I
to
have
you
a lot.
I'm gonna do pre-show matches as well.
There are not enough sensu beans in the fucking world.
Oh, just wait. In the first match, a 3-way tag team match, the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, versus SCU, Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky, versus Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn.
Remember when they were a thing?
I do. In a
No one
one-on-one
else does.
in a one-on-one match, Allie defeated Leva Bates with Peter Avalon.
I don't know who any of these fucking people are.
The librarian.
Gee, that helps.
In the worst hardcore match ever conceived by anyone ever, Michael Nakazawa defeated Alex Jabali.
Whose last name is Jabali?
Yeah, that's, well,
It's either they stuttered while trying to say Bailey, like you have a child named named Jaylee, and you're like, oh, Jabali, get over here. It also sounds like Jabroni.
oh, just wait. Now we're on to the main card. In a one-on-one match, Christopher Daniels versus...
Smell the AEW from here.
Christopher Daniels versus SEMA. In a three-way match, Nyla Rose versus Yuka Sakazaki versus Riho. In a four-way match, Jimmy Havoc versus Jungle Boy versus Adam Page versus MJF. In a one-on-one match, Cody, without his last name, but with Brandy Rhodes, versus Darby Allin. In a six-man tag team match, The Elite, Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson, versus the Lucha Brothers, Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix, and Laredo Kid. And in the main event... In an unsanctioned match, this is the main event of an actual card that actually happened. Jon Moxley versus Joey Janela.
God, I can smell the early 2019 AEW from here, and it is rancid.
But which 2019 AEW did I choose?
Was it Fyter Fest?
It was Fyter Fest.
God, 2019 AEW was so ass.
Oh man, yeah, it's like it's so much better now. It's
God, can this company die already, please? For the love of God.
Man, yeah.
I'm gonna die before it does.
A main event, Jon Moxley versus Joey Janela. That happened.
Jesus.
Can you imagine giving a main event to Joey Janela in the year of our Lord 2019, let alone 2024, where he's been affected? You know, although he just got beat to hell that year of 2019, and then he was out of that company. He was one of the first people that Tony was like, yeah, maybe not. But such is the life.
Painful. I don't know which one I would rather watch, that one or TLC 2020.
Yeah, I know. I gave you two really good. And thank God that's not the game we're playing today.
God.
All right. All right. Give me another one here.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Like, I'm so weak at this point. All right. You hurt me. Now I'm going to try to hurt you.
Okay.
All right. So this is a good one. We start off with Tara defending the Knockouts Championship against Angelina Love.
Okay.
Then we have Matt Morgan. Remember that dude?
I do.
Versus Daniels.
Okay.
That's his name.
I remember.
We have Abyss versus Dr. Stevie.
Yep.
Who actually has a really good... Have you seen Stevie Richards' YouTube channel?
Not since AEW copyright struck it.
Because how dare he criticize the company? What
For
a bunch
real
of
things, yeah.
petty fucking dipshits.
Yep.
Team 3D versus the British Invasion for the... Not the TNA World Tag Team titles, the IWGP
Tag titles.
Tag Team titles.
Yep, I remember.
Do you remember this one? We have Sharmell versus
Jenna Maraska.
Yeah. In a singles match. We also have AJ Styles versus Kevin Nash for the Legends
Global
Championship.
Legends Championship, yep.
Yep. We have the Main Event Mafia versus Beer Money Inc. for the World Tag Team titles.
And that, I believe, was Scott and Booker?
Yep.
Yep.
Samoa Joe versus Sting.
Yep.
And our main event, Kurt Angle defending the world title against a barely functional Mick Foley.
So this is 2009.
Yeah.
It is either August or September. And I can't remember which. And the
It
only
was neither.
it's because it's then it might be July then. It might be right after because when did Mick
It
lose
is
that
July.
belt? So it July it was after Slammiversary. What did they do there? This wasn't Sacrifice was, I believe, the pay-per-view after this, right? Because they had like a fatal four-way that Sacrifice that year. That I see. The thing is, I don't remember a lot. Was this Victory Road?
It indeed was Victory
This
Road.
is Victory Road.
2009.
Yes. It's
One of the shittiest pay-per-views ever done.
and it's a shame because when you look at that card on paper, it's not bad. I would kill to have a card like this now.
Well, minus Jenna Maraska.
Minus Sharmell and Jenna Maraska.
That's so bad it's funny.
But that's the I mean, for every Tara versus Angelina Love, which I remember actually being pretty good because Tara was wrestling very well then because she had
That one
just
was
started.
fine.
She had just started.
Matt Morgan and Daniels with Christopher Daniels was not great because Matt Morgan was so fucking green. Like,
Well,
there was a spot where he was supposed to do an elbow drop, but Daniels was going to roll out of the way, but Matt Morgan was so green that like he hit him anyway.
yeah. Well, and Matt had also. I think what happened with the whole getting the stutter gimmick in WWE really hurt his confidence pretty badly. And so,
Yeah.
like, I think that also kind of hurt his wrestling ability badly until... And he kind of ended up turning into somebody who had the potential to be really good to someone who needed somebody really good to get a good match out of him.
Yeah.
And that's a shame, honestly, because that's just kind of wasted potential.
And what possibly nauseated me the most, Kevin Nash defeated AJ Styles clean in 2009.
Well, AJ got the last laugh by beating Sting at Bound for Glory, so...
Yeah.
All right, let's do one last one here, and then we'll
All
call it a day for today's, and we'll bring Skylar in for the next round.
All right.
And I'm going to give you a challenging one here.
So one more for each of us?
No.
Okay, just
Just
one
one
you.
more, and
All
we'll
right.
cap it off, and we'll save the rest for Skylar.
Okay.
All right. Let's go. Let's do. I won't give you one that like is impossible here, because that one I almost guarantee you're not going to get.
Okay. The challenge has been laid.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. All right, we'll do this one.
Okay.
In a title unification match for the J Crown and the Cruiserweight Championship, Ultimate Dragon with Sonny Ono defeated Dean Malenko. For the inaugural Women's Championship, Akira Hakuto with Sonny Ono and Kensuke Sasaki defeated Medusa. I am not Japanese. Bear with me here. In a one-on-one match, Jushin Thunder Liger versus Rey Mysterio Jr. In a no disqualification match, Jeff Jarrett versus Chris Benoit with Woman. In a tag team match for the tag team championships, The Outsiders, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall with Six versus the Faces of Fear, Ming and the Barbarian with Jimmy Hart. In the tournament final for the vacant United States Heavyweight Championship, Diamond Dallas Page versus Eddie Guerrero. In a one-on-one match, The Giant versus Lex Luger. And in the main event, Rowdy Roddy Piper versus Hulk Hogan with Ted DiBiase.
Well, I know it's WCW in 1996.
You are correct. You're right.
I'm not very knowledgeable of their pay-per-view names. I know some of them.
Well, this is one of their big ones.
Is it Bash at the Beach?
It is not Bash at the Beach. Well, Bash at the Beach 96 is when the NWO showed up.
Okay. Before that. It's not Starrcade, is it?
It is Starrcade 96.
Wow, Starrcade 96. Damn.
Which is in December. The key piece of information I left out here was Roddy Piper beat Hollywood Hogan. So he had already I said Hulk Hogan, not because if I get saying Hollywood Hogan would have given that away, because then you're automatically in the latter half of 96. And
not gonna lie, the second you said Dean Malenko, my brain went, okay, so he's talking about WCW.
Well, yeah, because what of WWE run Dean Malenko did anyone give a single shit about?
I'll tell you someone that cared, Lita.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
And that is about it. But
They tried to fucking kill her.
yeah, he sure did. But that's only because he's a classy man. And you know what? He should join Christian's faction. But
the patriarch.
That's right. Well, folks, this has been a hell of a time. I very thoroughly enjoyed myself playing guests, even though I think statistically you got more of them than I did. But that's the joy of this. We get to kind of test ourselves. And hopefully next time, Josh, again, we will have Skylar here to tease and titillate with our trivial knowledge of professional wrestling pay-per-views.
Absolutely.
And folks, until that time, thank you all for tuning in and playing the game with us. And next time, we may or may not have Triple H's theme music. Our lawsuit is still pending. But until then, folks, we will be right back right after this.